selections. Before I actually tell you what is a selection, I will show you why we need to have selections, because then you'd understand why we need to have selections. So let's say that I have an image. Let's say any image, this one. And then I need to add another image. So I'm gonna go to Drive C, browse to where I have Photoshop installed, go to Samples, and here I'm gonna open an image called Ducky. Right? So you all have this image, and I'm gonna open it. So now I have the two together. I just want to put the duck in this image, but just the duck. Of course, yeah, I have to drag and bring it down here, but the problem is that it comes with its own background. So what I need to do is remove that background just so that I have the duck. Yes, what I need to do is select the white color. There are many ways to do that. The simplest way and the fastest way in this case is to click on this tool that says the Magic Wand tool. Now what this will do is select one color or a range of colors that are close to each other. So it's either one or a range depending on the value called tolerance. The tolerance value, whenever you increase it, more neighboring colors will be selected. Whenever you decrease it, you're gonna just select the color that you pick on. In this case, the default is 32. I'm gonna leave it set to 32. Then I'm gonna click, and now just the white color is selected. Now how do I know what is selected? One way to do it, of course, you have to look at the marquee. This is called the marquee, which is a moving set of dashed lines that tell you that this is not actually part of the image, but it's a selection. So if my cursor is inside the selection, you see how the cursor turns into an arrow, a white arrow. If it is outside the selection, you get the icon of the magic wand, which means that you can now actually select another color. So if I click on the yellow, I have the yellow selected, but not all the yellow, because if I zoom over, I see that this part is a bit darker than that part. You see, because the tolerance is set to 32. If I set it, say, to 5, which is decreasing the tolerance value, and I deselect by going to Select and Deselect, and now I click, I would see that less colors are actually selected. Why? Because I decreased my tolerance value. So the tolerance value will give you control over which colors are selected, the extent of selecting neighboring colors. The higher the value, the more neighboring colors will be selected. Again, to remove the selection, select and deselect. The shortcut is Control D, which is something that I use a lot, so it's very good to remember the shortcut, Control D. So Control D, it goes away. Now let's increase the tolerance, say to 50. Now if I click, you see that more colors are selected. But if I zoom over here, I'll see that this part of the eye was not selected. So maybe I need to increase the tolerance. Control D, go to 70 now, click. Alright, so now the inner eye is actually selected except for the actual eye. So this part is selected, but the white, of course, it's not, because it's very far from the yellow. It's not very close to the yellow as the darker yellow. So let's zoom out. Almost all the head is selected except for this part and that part here. And this is because they are darker. Control D, increase this, say, to 90, and click. Alright, so now I have a much better selection here and there. Now this is dark and this is selected, the yellow here, but I just have this and that part that are not selected. Of course, the red here and the white and the black are not selected. To know what is selected, you click here where it says Edit in Quick Mask Mode. So you're gonna see the colors that are not selected in red. So whatever is reddish now, which is this part, that one, and the rest, is not selected. So this is a way to see what is actually selected. The shortcut for this is Q. So you go down here. Alright? It's not very visible. Look here. Okay, so this is the standard selection mode, and this is the quick mask mode that tells you what is selected. The shortcut to switch between the two is what? Q. So now I need to add this to my selection. How would I add something to my selection? Bravo. I press shift and I click. So now when I did press shift, I got this part selected also. Now, because the tolerance is high, I also selected this part there. So I'm going to undo. I'm going to decrease the tolerance, say to 32. Press shift and click a few times so that I don't select the beak. Right? If you have the tolerance set too high, it will be actually selected. So you decrease it and then you add to your selection. Control minus to zoom out. So now if I press Control C to copy what I selected and created a new file, but this time I'm going to choose the background to be transparent. Remember, when you choose a transparent background, you get the checker. Now I'll press Control V to paste, and this is what I get. I get the duck without the eyes and without the beak because this is what I selected. Okay, so let's delete this. Control A to select everything and delete. Right? So I repeat. To delete what I have here, I choose select all or Control A. That would select all in this image and then delete so it goes away. Now I want to do the opposite. I want to select the duck without the white. So in this case, I would click on the white to select it, and I would choose select and inverse. If I choose inverse, everything except for the white will be selected, and therefore I get the duck. You understand? So it's the opposite of my selection. I repeat. I want to have the whole duck without spending time to actually select all the parts of the duck. A smarter way would be to select the white and then inverse the selection so I would get the duck. Inverse means give me the opposite. So if I clicked on the white and chose select inverse, now I get the duck to be selected. Right? And I can drag it and put it there, for example, or copy paste. So it's two ways. Either Control C and then Control V, but faster, just drag your selection and you see that just the duck gets here without the white because I made this as a selection. Another thing I can do, Control D to deselect, is to select the white color, yeah, and press delete.